All right, everyone. So for this question, this is number 18 on your practice exam, and this is looking at what happens to the money supply, period to period when you have this cryptocurrency without a cap on it, and you have this token loss that occurs because of the fact that people can misplace their private key. Um, let's write down what we have here. So we have this particular cryptocurrency. The money supply is 1 million. The token loss is going to be at 1.5% per period. The real price of the currency, or you could say this is one over P. What do you think? Way to think about this with this real price, the currency, the real value. This is okay. How many units of a good can this one unit of the currency purchase? So with cryptocurrency, it's currently like 40-something thousand dollars, but like its real value or its real price. This is how many units could it buy here? So one way we measure inflation is with like the monthly basket for consumers. So let's just say it's 4,000 a month. So, 1 unit of Bitcoin right now could buy it'd be worth like 10 baskets of goods. So that's what its value would be, like a 10. All right. So when you think of this, it's going to be the inverse of the actual price level if you had like everything priced in cryptocurrency. Okay, it's looking at the real value is like the real amount of goods that you can get with like 1 unit. And here we're going to say it's 60. All right. What about the entrepreneur? This miner? This cost function, we're going to say this delta, this is the amount of tokens that's created. And its cost as a function of the tokens created is 0.25 delta 2. Right? And we need the derivative of this. Take the derivative of that, it's going to be 0.5 delta. Okay? All right, so we want to solve this problem here. We have 700 entrepreneurs, but first thing we need is, okay, what does each entrepreneur do? Like, we need to think about their problem by itself. What are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to max their profit by choosing an amount of delta such that, it maximizes the profit. And what they're looking at for profit here is their total revenue minus total cost. The total revenue, well, that's just the real price of the cryptocurrency times the amount of tokens they produce minus the cost for this. Right. Okay. All right. And so what do we have here? We can substitute in now. 1 over P we said was 60. The cost function was 0.25 delta 2. All right. All right, so what are we doing here? Well, we want to use our first order condition. So we want to take the derivative of these and set it equal to 0. And that'll find the point where these are going to be equal to each other. And that's where, entrepreneurs are going to maximize their profit, or any kind of firm. All right. So we take the derivative of this first part, total revenue. That gives us 60. All right. Minus the derivative of 0.25 delta 2. And we said that was 0.5 delta. Set this equal to 0. Then we can rearrange this. This is 60 equals 0.5 delta. All right, so what is this? 60 over here. Well, this is the marginal revenue. All right, this is for this last unit of tokens being produced. This is the amount of money that's it's going to bring them. All right, for each unit. Yes, it's 60 units of good that can be bought for each unit that they produce here. What is their cost for this last unit? Well, that's represented by here on the right. Okay, it's 0.5 delta here. Okay. All right. So what you can do, like if you're doing this problem, you don't have to worry about doing that. You can just set this up straight away where you set marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Right? You're just setting the real price of the tokens equal to the derivative of the cost function. That'll give you that. All right, and so now we'll solve this to get the exact amount of delta. And so you just multiply both sides by by 2. That makes the one side delta, the other would be 120. All right, that's how much each individual entrepreneur produced. We want to get the total amount they produced. So we have the total delta produced is the total amount of entrepreneurs, or 700, times 120. What does that give us? That gives us 84,000. Okay. Now we're wanting to get net token creation. So remember, our money supply develops. Money supply in the current period equals the amount of tokens being produced by the entrepreneur. And we said that was 120 each. The total is 84,000. We also need to take into account that we already have part of our money supply there. So that comes from this part, money supply from the previous period. But we need to subtract out part of the money supply that's lost from people losing their private keys. Okay. All right. So net money creation is a new period's money supply minus the previous periods. And what that's going to be represented by is new token creation minus the tokens that are being lost here. So you have two forces at work here. Right? And this is what's going to lead to this kind of neat equilibrium condition for this cryptocurrency when it suffers loss like this. You have money being created on one hand, but you also have money being lost each period. Okay. All right. So let's just substitute in here. What do we have? For delta star for all the entrepreneurs, we said that was 84,000. What about money being lost? Well, that's 0.015 times 1 million. Okay. And what does that give us? That gives us 15,000. So net money creation, when we take into account the money that's been lost access to, that's basically out of the money supply now because nobody can actually use it, right? Plus the money created by these miners each period. This is going to give you 69,000. Okay. All right. So the next part was, well, what's going to happen in net money creation the next period? Is it going to increase or decrease? So let's talk about what's happened here. Let's erase this. All right. So the money supply goes up 69,000. So this is going to lead to the price level increasing. Okay. Which means what to the real value of money? It's going to decrease. All right. Entrepreneurs or miners have less incentive to create money. Okay. So that means money creation is going to decrease. Well, what about token loss? Well, since money supplies went up and the token loss percentage, we're saying it's staying the same. This means the amount of money that's being lost for each period is going to increase. Okay. All right. So currency loss increases. Okay. So as a result of that, total money creation, remember, we said was the money being created minus the tokens lost. And since this is going down and this is going up, both of these are going to lead to a decrease in net money creation next period. It's not going to go negative, but it's going to be lower than 69,000. And that's the way this works. It's going to keep decreasing All right. Until it finally, after an infinite number of periods, it's going to end up being where it's a stable price, steady state. All right. There's going to be no net money creation after a certain point. And this only works though, like if there's no cap. If there's a cap, there can either be like, net money creation, or there could be like actual deflation. What would happen with these caps most of the time is like it's going to end up eventually being the case. Just like with Bitcoin. At some point, if it stays around long enough, the money supply is going to be shrinking each period, which is kind of interesting. It's not great if you have an economy that's growing and money demand is increasing, so that wouldn't lead it to being like, what would be considered like a really good money. But like, as far as its value, it'd be a good thing though. As a store of value, that means that's probably a good thing though. All right, so I hope this was helpful. All right.